Hey guys, how's it going? Well, Ford Transit Connect. I bought one yesterday. Yep, I bought one yesterday. I think I got a pretty good deal. It was 12,600 book value, and I talked them down to 10,400. The asking price was $12,000 on Craigslist. So it's gonna be a new adventure, everybody. It's gonna be all over again, rebuilding. Yahoo! But that's the way she goes. So why don't we go take a look at it? So here it is. Sorry about the road noise, but I really can't control it. I have to park it here until Monday. Today's Thursday. And I'll tell you why. I can only put a 1-day permit on it. October 26, 2016. Because I ran out of money. I spent every single dime I had, and then I actually had to take money off my credit card, $500 to cover the balance. So what I did is I parked it in front of this bus, which is here all the time, figuring that the bus probably won't leave, and then cops won't see that my insurance is expired, because if they see that it's expired, they'll give me a ticket up in here in Vancouver, Canada. So I'm going to insure it fully on Monday, and then I can start driving and stuff. So there are a couple issues that I recently learned of, as in yesterday when it started raining. And that is, let's see, did I open this? No, I didn't. It's got these fancy keys with the, I've never had a key like this before, the fob thing on it, whatever they call this. Unlock. Alright, flashing lights. Hey, unlock, I said. Try again. There we go. Now, I saw this rust on here, and I should have clued in that there is a leak, but I didn't. And this is all really, really wet. But I'm pretty sure I know where it is. I should have clued in because of this rusty piece on the floor, but the guy knocked off $500 because of this. It was $11,000, and I said, "What about this rusty thing?" He goes, "Okay, 10,500." I go, "Okay." That's a good deal. So this is where the leak is. I'm 90% sure. See how this light is broken up here? The water is probably getting in there. So what I'm going to do is, oh, it's a lot bigger than I thought it was. I'm going to just cover this in a plastic bag for now. And then once I can insure it, I'll drive it to an underground parking or somewhere dry. And I'll dry all this off. And I don't know if I'm just going to die core some of it somehow, or what I'm going to do. But I might even just take this whole thing off. Oops, almost fell off. It's not really necessary. So, yeah. Remains to be seen. So let's go inside, shall we? Grab this thing. So yeah, the floor is a little bit wet there. My milk crate to sit on. There's two other things that I knew about when I bought it. It's pretty dirty. It was used for a cleaning business, and as a result, it's pretty dirty in here. But I'm going to take this plywood out, and depending on the condition of the rubber floor underneath, I might take that out as well. Now, if I take out the rubber floor, I'm probably going to put in some of that whatchamacallit, half-inch foam board, polystyrene stuff. But The first priority for sure is to stop that leak. Number one priority. So the other thing that's a negative against the van is that previous owner was a smoker, and it smells strongly of cigarettes in here. But I know that I can get that smell out. If anybody has any tips, I mean, maybe baking powder or something, spray of vinegar, or I don't know. But I'm gonna figure that out and get that done too. So this is the view of the driver area. Pretty simple. This is not a very, I bought this van because of the design of it, not because I'm particularly impressed by its engine. It's just like a 2-liter engine, 4-cylinder, I think. And it's also very simple. The radio is pretty crappy. I'm probably gonna upgrade that at some point. Not the radio specifically, but the speakers. I know from my experience playing in bands and being a bass player that speakers are basically really important in terms of quality of output of sound. So I'll definitely do that upgrade, but it gets really good gas mileage. I love the view of the window. I mean, you can see it's very a nice open feeling as you drive. So one issue I thought of is originally I was going to build a partition wall that comes behind the seat and goes straight down. But as you can see, the seat takes up quite a bit of room, and I haven't, put in I haven't dialed in the exact way I want the front seat to be comfortable to drive with. But it's not. It's taking up way too much of the living space. So I think because of that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use maybe like a tarp and either some fleece blankets, like maybe 4 lined fleece blankets bundled together, and then another tarp on the other side for a sandwich effect. Or I could use a really heavy duty sleeping bag that's rated like 30 below or something, but it's a lot of money. So I'll try that and see how it goes, because that way with the soft shell, the soft curtain, I can just shape the thing like this, and that will mean that it'll be less cumbersome. And then when I'm parked for the night, I can just move my seat forward, and then I'll have all that space. But the problem with that is that's going to put a wrinkle where I wanted to put my heater. Originally I was going to put my heater there. I was going to build a Baltic birch plywood wall there, and then put my heater right here, my Wave 3. So, of course, with the soft curtain thing, I can't really do that. So I'm going to have to figure something else for that. So a feature I like of this van is they have this shelf thing right here. And it's not very deep, but what I can do is I can extend this out, depending on how it's going to affect my headroom, of course. And I think it'll be okay to even have it about here, maybe even higher, depending on how the headroom situation is. And then put a cover over this, or maybe even not even have a cover. And then I'll have a place to put my clothes, something bulky and light. So as you can see, from behind the back seat is pushed as far forward as it can go, all the way back here. And I also got the width of the measuring tape there. It's like 3 inches, 76 inches. So obviously, there's going to be insulation and some structural stuff in place, and this is not exactly a perfectly straight measuring tape, but roughly it's going to be plenty of room. If I get 74 inches, I'm happy. Heck, if I get 73 inches, I'll be happy. But in order to do that, it's going to take some a little bit of creativity. Now, where these green tape lines are, I just put, that is 14 inches, and I'm thinking that's how high I'm going to make the bed at this point. That still leaves me 2 inches above my head. And I'm deciding, this is pretty spongy. I'm not sure if I should insulate over this, take it out altogether, or just leave it as it is. The reason I'm thinking of leaving it as it is because this stuff breathes. It's not plasticed over, which means that if the condensation gets in there, I think it's going to be able to escape and dry out like this. And that's a good thing. So my idea with this fan is to put in a Max Air fan. And I saw on Static Camper Man, that he had the Max Air fan and it looked like it does a good job. So the idea is, arm's getting sore from holding this camera. The idea is that I can set the thermostat, run my heater, and then if it gets too hot in here, the fan will turn on and then suck out the excess heat and then shut off when it's the appropriate temperature. Now, I don't know if I can set it digitally. If I can set it to 21 Celsius or 72 Fahrenheit, that would be perfect. But maybe I'm being a bit too, I don't know, demanding. Anyway, you know, that's my idea. I'm going to put a fan right here, like a Max Air fan right there, and it's going to suck out the excess heat. Which means I'm not really worried about being too cold, because my heater is actually going to produce too much heat for this area, I know, because it produced too much heat for my Econoline 150 that I used to have, standard cargo van. So I know it's going to produce too much heat for this. But it's just going to be sucked out. You know, I'm talking about at night when I'm sleeping. So what this means is that I don't have to go crazy on the insulation in this thing. My idea at this point is I'm going to use bubble wrap, and then I'm just going to use probably 1/2 inch pink insulation, like the foam board stuff, polystyrene. But I'm also thinking of alternative ideas, such as using maybe a layer of Reflectix, and then with 3 or 4 layers of, go to the thrift store and buy some fleece blankets and just use that. Those have good insulating qualities and they dry easily when they're wet. So, and then putting a layer of either plastic or Reflectix over that, because that would be a lot easier to install than having to cut every these little minute corners and all this stuff that happens with these vans and their oddball shapes. If you have any ideas on that, please leave a comment in the comment section below. So yeah, my main concern with this van is not heat, because the heater is going to be too much anyway. The main concern is condensation and reducing moisture. And I'm hoping that the bubble wrap with all the little air gaps in it are going to do the trick. But I'm not 100% sure. Now if you see this, I have to take this wooden thing off. If you see this panel right here, this is the outside wall. And then you have a gap right here of about 1/4 inch. I think the same right here. So what I could do is I could put the bubble wrap over here on this side, and then just insulate outwards, and then that way there'll be lots of air going through here. And of course all over here and all that jazz, but I got to do a lot of thinking to this and figure out which is the best way. I think bubble wrap is going to work the best. Now in terms of the bed, like I said, that green tape means that's 14 inches at the bottom of the green tape. And I wrote 33 inches, I put a piece of tape with 33 inches from right about there. So from there to over here, it's going to be way closer, because that wall, the sliding door wall, is way closer or way farther out than this wall, probably about 4 or 5 inches. So now I'm thinking maybe I should base my head area over here and have my feet over in this corner, because I don't really need as much room for my feet. And that way I'll have more room for 33 or 34 inches over here, and then I'll have more room over here. Because, you know, it's like the balance. I want as much bed space as possible, but I also want as much floor space as possible. Another idea I had was I could have like some kind of a piece of wood on a hinge, and it can go down over the stepwell area to increase the floor space when I'm in the van. Oh, look, it's blurry. Focus, you. And then when I'm out of the van, I can just fold it up so that when I step out, it's not in my way. And then I step back in, it's out of my way. And then I fold it back down when I'm in the van again. So, yeah, I think I got a pretty good deal on this van. I paid about $2,000 less than book value that's set by the government. And the big thing, the big draw of this van, this particular van, is that it only has 75,000 kilometers. So that is really, I don't know how many that is in miles, but I'm guessing about 40,000 or 50,000. That's low. That's really low for a 6-year-old van. So that means this thing has a lot of life in it, and I should be easily get to 400,000. Well, maybe not easily 400,000, but 350,000. I'm thinking pretty easily if I look after it. So I spent all the money I had on this van. I have nothing in my bank account, and I maxed out my credit card. I have $40 to my name, and I am not joking. If you could please send money via PayPal. I'm going to start a Kickstarter and, you know, try to get some money that way. I'd appreciate any donations you can make for my terrible time, my time of need, my time of financial need, great need. Thank you so much. Just kidding. I don't want a dime from anybody. I've got, I did spend all my money. I did spend, you know, $10,400 in this van. And then I had to spend $1,200 in tax. And then my credit card declined it because I didn't have $1,200 left on my credit card. As I mentioned in the beginning of this video, I don't have any money to pay for insurance. So it's going to sit here until Monday when I get paid. And then I'll put 3 months of insurance on it. In fact, I could probably afford to put more than that. But I also want to pay down my credit card pretty quickly. I don't like having a balance. So I'll put a large majority of my paycheck on the credit card. Save some money to live off of, and then save the rest for the insurance. Alright guys, well that about wraps it up for this one. Thanks for watching. Take care. Have a good night.